jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
Y'all know what it is. It's Sunday, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in to World Combat Sports. Salute, big salute, and one love to the supporters. Those of you that's in the building. Dion Washington, what's good? Salute, my brother. Always a pleasure knowing you support the channel. And everybody else, once you get in the building, just hit the like button for me. So let's get down to it, man. We have some boxing talk and mixed martial arts, of course. I gotta pretty much address the mixed martial arts UFC 276 first. You know what I'm saying? Because I know the boxing talk is going to carry forward to extended time because, you know, people have a lot to say and it's a lot going on. And plus, you know me, I got to talk about the obvious, you know. So UFC 276 went down in T-Mobile in Vegas, right? And, you know, I'm just going to start with the main event. You know, Brian Barberena against Robbie Lawler. Barberena ended up shutting him down in round 2. I pretty much thought it would go down like this in round 1, being that I've watched Barberena and you know how tough he is, his activity. He has pretty good hands. And, you know, stylistically, both of these fighters are stand-up strikers. I'm not saying that they don't go to the ground. They don't ever take it to the ground. I'm just saying in a fight like this, sometimes strikers who that's their bread and butter, they stay on the feet. And Robbie Lawler has been known to stay on the feet. He did very well in the first round. I was admiring Robbie Lawler's defense, man, how he was so crafty and slick, you know, with the hand movement, you know, almost like you play back in the day. You slap boxing and, you know, you do all the parries, left and right parries, moving your head left and right, you know, just trying to pretty much mesmerize, you know, your opposition before you slap them dead smacking their lips. And you say, oh, shit, where'd that come from? I was busy looking at the damn hocus pocus shit you was doing. I was looking at the magic show. Well, the only way to stop a fighter from putting on that display like Robbie Lawler, where he was just moving his hands and flicking the parry back and forth, is to get in close and take some risks and try to land some shots. Why I say what I say is that Robbie is 40 years old. He's much older. So you gotta deplete that gas tank. You know what I'm saying? He was in shape, but it's a difference between Robbie Lawler being in street shape and he being in fight shape. You know, he looked good when, you know, he walked into the cage and everything, but obviously with age and the wear and tear and the tread that he has on his body, he wasn't going to be able to stand in there with a younger Barberena, in my opinion. And also, you fight fanatics, right? You have to understand one thing about the science of combat. Just because a fighter is around the same age as another fighter, it doesn't mean they have the same beginnings. If you take a fighter that's around the same age, 33, and you take a fighter that's 35, all right? The 33-year-old fighter may be in worse condition than the 35-year-old fighter. It all depends on how they took care of their body, you know, how extensive and the depth for which they had an amateur pedigree, if any, or in mixed martial arts per se, Did they have a previous combat sports what they competed in as a profession, or how much the experience they have as a mixed martial artist? You know what I'm saying? Have they been in multiple organizations, took punishment? You know, because that 33-year-old may be a 43-year-old, you know, in fighting years. But Robbie Lawler, that's where my examples bleed over. Robbie Lawler has a lot of tread. He's been in a lot of wars, man. He was back here when the UFC was basically materializing. I mean, he's been through it. And I like seeing Lawler fight. I just hope that he retires sometime soon because, everybody remember his war with Rory McDonald and all them other people, even Johnny Hendricks. But Barberina ended up shutting him down with elbows. He collected the data and he switched it up while he was inside. Because once fighters start to get on the inside, you see a change, right? And Lawler, Lawler demonstrated that, man, his boxing, his dirty boxing, is something to admire. Pretty much him boxing on the inside the way he was, being comfortable, moving his head side to side, offline, shooting those sneaky uppercuts. I like what I was seeing, but Barberina said, you know what, I'm gonna change this up and start throwing these short elbows. A lot of people don't take the consideration about elbows on how lethal they are. The elbow is lethal, man. They've been called everything from blades, tomahawks. You know what I'm saying? They have their name because an elbow will slice you up if you know how to throw it correctly. And that's how Robbie started to break down, man. He equalized them with the elbows, and then he got the reaction that he wanted. He hurt him. Robbie slowed down, and then he went back to the hands. Very, very educated. You know what I'm saying? Very smart. He ended up defeating Robbie Lawler. Moving on, man. And shout out to Barberina, man. You fought a damn good fight. Alex Pereira, former kickboxer that has 2 wins over Izzy Adesanya in kickboxing. He went in there against the braggadocious, boisterous Sean Strickland. Leading up to this fight, Sean Strickland at the presser was giving us that bladder flare. He was talking all the talk. You know what I'm saying? He was talking all the talk. He was just, trying to talk shit to Adesanya. And, some guys like Sean Strickland, they talk shit, but I don't think they have any type of malice. You know what I'm saying? They're not the type of individuals that's wishing anything nefarious to happen to the opponent. But he went into this knowing that he was in there with a well-decorated kickboxing striker from Brazil. So we're talking about round 1, y'all. And it wasn't even that. The activity wasn't that type of violence, really. Because Alex came in there and controlled the momentum and the pace. Very, very composed, man. It's almost like he was very strategic, methodical. He used his range well. He pretty much was able to mediate Sean Strickland forward aggression coming towards him in the cage. And he was just maintaining his cool. Sean Strickland was coming in, trying to press, because he's about that smoke, press. And Alex maintained his composure. And I like how he was just showing, how in boxing, how they tell you to throw medium speed punches, and then, you kind of switch it up on where you want that punch placement to be. And then all of a sudden you turn it up on their ass in between them getting, woe to sleep by you just tapping them. Tap, 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 pop! And, that's exactly what Alex did. He got Sean Strickland used to just medium speed punches. You know what I'm saying? He got him comfortable. I don't know if Sean Strickland thought that Alex was pretty much, he had some, a little bit of fright, or he was a little bit sketchy about turning up, against a certified, legitimate striker in Sean Strickland. Like Strickland is legit. For real, he is legit, man. He can strike. But when Alex touched him with the left hook, y'all, it was a pretty left hook. And usually that left hook that lands in that type of format in mixed martial arts is from a guy who fought boxing, or kickboxing, or Muay Thai, something like that. Because a lot of those cats that start mixed martial arts, they have to take up boxing for the first time. So they're basically orientating multiple striking skills into their arsenal. Alex hit him with a very clean left hook. Put him to sleep. That was his first power punch, like his main power punch. He waited to when he was within striking range, and he lit his ass up. Not only that, when Strickland was falling back, he lined him up with 2 right hands before he even stretched them out on the canvas, man. Dude is very accurate. Shout out to Alex, man. He got the win over Sean Strickland, first round knockout, 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Alexander Volkanovski, y'all, versus Max Holloway. I couldn't pick a winner in this fight. I know, like I explained to you all, that this was a trilogy where you don't see often. You don't see it often. Every trilogy doesn't play out like Davison Figueroa at flyweight and Brandon Moreno. It doesn't play out like that because their first fight, Figueroa missed weight, but he beat Moreno. Then he came back, Figueroa came back and he fought a different fight. Boom. He was fighting Joseph Benavidez. Boom. He won and stopped him really, but he couldn't get the title. Came back, made weight, stopped him again, won the title. Fought Brandon Moreno, went in there, and Brandon Moreno was like, "You underestimated me." This was like something that just came out of the blue with him and Brandon Moreno. Boom, you underestimated me. And he come in there and dethrone Figueroa. And then UFC comes back. Boom, give him another Brandon Moreno fight. Figueroa won. What I'm trying to say in this particular scenario, Max Holloway was down 2-0 against Volkanovski. And it was for a reason that we seen play out yesterday. Max Holloway is a good fighter. At one point in time, he had a medical situation that happened where he might have had some neurological situation going on where he had to get checked and he was pulled out and he had to, run some tests and get some medical assistance or whatever. I always remember that. Because for a fighter like Max, who's also taken a lot of punishment, who also never been stopped, it comes a time where your body over time, especially if you punch with 4-ounce gloves, getting kicked in the head and all that, you're going to start to break down because everybody's physical anatomy is different. Alexander Volkanovski's display yesterday, oh my God, superb, impeccable. That was the best fight of the night. I am a freaking fan, just like I was a fan of Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo is the one who lost to Demetrius Johnson, came back a couple of years later and ended up defeating him. And then not only did he become the flyweight champion, he ended up fighting freaking TJ Dillashaw for the bantamweight championship. Knocked him out in the first round. Different breed. Volkanovski, a different breed of dude. Different breed of fighter. This dude's timing on Max Holloway was absolutely impeccable, man. It was beautiful to watch. This dude he had a timepiece on both hands. Every time Max Holloway even thought about coming forward, crack, he was popping him with the jab, or he was popping him with the 2. It was perfect. It was a perfect display of a fight that never went to the ground like that. It was a stand-up. And you're talking about a guy, Max Holloway, who was fighting Kelvin Kattar. And he was saying he's the best boxer in the UFC. Well, Volkanovski proved that to be wrong. He outboxed the shit out of Holloway. He beat him up. He cut him with an elbow. And he just had him leaking damn near the whole fight. And most fighters, if they had a cut like Max Holloway, they would be trying to get out the fight. Max Holloway cut. I could have sworn that shit damn near to the skull. But they let the fight go on because it was a co-main event. And, it was a Max Holloway. But if you look at the striking skill, if you have the opportunity to look at that co-main event, Alexander Volkanovski, man, I got to give him the biggest salute of the night because whoever his boxing coach is, that dude demands to get better. He demands to go in there and work on his skill set. He demands that shit. And not only is he demanding it, but obviously he's listened. He continues to be a student. He continues to retain and remediate. So the point he can come better. And he over there with his boxing skills, I think, look, if I'm correct, I think for sure that he's over there with Cejudo them. I think he's over there with Cejudo. And that's one thing that started to impress me about Henry Cejudo is his boxing. His boxing. Dude was an Olympic gold medalist wrestler who came in here and learned how to work on his boxing. He was all about the clinch game. He can take people down, work on, do the ground and pound, grappling and all that. But he began to mature with his hands. Alexander Volkanovski right now, in my opinion, when you talk about fighters, he is the best fighter. He is the best fighter. Hands down. Volkanovski is no joke. Now, I wouldn't say that if it was Khabib, because Khabib boxing is not all that, but his sambo is on a whole nother level. Volkanovski, he was never in danger of being taken down. He had no problem once they did get it close to the clinch of landing some power shots to get to create separation. He was never in any type of problems. But he put on a master class yesterday. And, big salute to Volkanovski, man. You really dominated Max Holloway. I don't know what's next for Max. Volkanovski is talking about moving up to 155. If he does, he'll face Charles Oliveira. If they give him an immediate title shot, like they did Conor McGregor, we'll see what happens. But dude is a machine, man. Volkanovski is 25-1, and he has not lost since he's been in the UFC. He's an absolute machine. Let me get to these. Before I go to the main event, I'm gonna get to the live chat. Dion in the building. Salute to you, my brother. King Mitch Comeback, what up? What's good with it, Mitch? Mr. Pass on deck. Salute to you. Salute WCS. Alexander, salute to you. What's good on deck? What up, WCS? What's good there, Alexander? What rating would you give this UFC card out of 10? I look at it from what I'm judging. I give it like a 7. I give it like a 7 or 8. And that being what I was able to see on the undercard. What I was able to see on the undercard. If you're asking me a leading question, just because of what I haven't talked about yet with Adesanyna, no, because even I'm gonna get to that fight. Even the fight going down the way it is, it still showed the fight fans something. It showed them something, and I'm gonna get to that. But I give it like a 7, 7.5, 8, something like that. Volko had the better performance for sure. Man, I rate him as the best fighter in there right now. Man, dude is absolutely the truth. Real talk. He's the truth, man. He is the truth. Man, his boxing skills, oh man. That was something to watch. Just not even the way he was just, throwing his punches. I'm talking about the timing. The split of the moment timing. Every time Max Holloway thought about closing distance, coming forward, even popping a jab, he had already popped Max, and Max didn't even see the shot. That shit was so linear. I was like, God damn. This look, Volk couldn't miss yesterday, dog. He couldn't miss. Pop, 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 pop. It was almost like putting a bag in the microwave, man. You about to watch a movie. All you heard was pop, 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 pop. And Max was bloody and shit. Man. Both cruised to a victory easy. Stylebender could have definitely done more than the Undertaker entrance was dope, though. I'm going to get to the main event for sure, man. Mark Nash on deck with it. What's good? I ain't mad at Israel win. This one looked good. On the next one, I got something to say about Izzy's dang win, though. Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz some more on deck. What's good with it, Bruce? Peace, my brother Scotty. Peace to you, OG. So, let's get to the main event, man. Israel Adesanya improves to 23 victories, 1 loss. Adesanya's 23 victories in, and he's not lost, just like Volkanovski. They have not lost in the UFC. Unlike his opponent, Jared Cannonier. This was campaigned at the 185-pound middleweight division. This was a fight that was so hyped up. People was expecting more. They was expecting more from the challenger, and they was definitely expecting more from Israel Adesanya. I peeped out something. Was going on, and I was like, damn, I was right. I peeped it out, dog. When I saw Vince McMahon them in the audience, I say, why are they there? Why is Triple H there? Why is Stephanie McMahon there? Why? Something else is going on here. Something else around that they're not talking about is why the McMahons was in the building. And not to mention, Vince McMahon was had to step down from running the WWE because of alleged accusations levied against him or whatever, accuser for misconduct and all the other shit. Anyway, and then Triple H, if you don't remember, Triple H was at a point where he had health problems. So if you looked at him last night, he's lost a tremendous amount of weight from where he used to be. And we can only speculate why that's the case. You know what I'm saying? All that wrestling over the years and everything. So I was like, damn, the McMahons are in the building. Why? Why is the McMahons in the building? They just don't show up over here to the UFC for nothing. And then come to find out, it was Israel Adesanya ring walk. You know, he came out and he was basically paying homage to the legend, the Undertaker. The legend. Look, I've seen the Undertaker in person. Look, I followed wrestling when it was down here in Atlanta when he used to be at the Omni. I used to see the Four Horsemen, y'all, whoop up on dudes in outside the ring in the audience. When it was Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Lex Luger, Ric Flair. Yeah, I used to see them dudes, man, when they should be down here. I always told my listeners, I say when I was going to boot camp, and I just, it makes you feel so old. But when I was 17 years old walking through the airport, and I'm saying to myself now, I say, God damn, I can't believe I was walking through the airport by myself. I've never been to the Atlanta airport before then. I'm walking, and they told me to go to this room, and I see Ric Flair over there with this Samoan bodyguard, this big motherfucker. But anyway, back to the thing. He was paying homage to the Undertaker. And the Undertaker he used to whoop ass in real life, dog. Like, he's that dude. And I said, oh shit, Adesanya coming in here paying homage to the Undertaker with the hat and the urn. I said, all right, cool. That's what's up. And then look, y'all, I'm this is just the way I think. And then I was saying, okay, now it makes sense. I connected that shit. But I always had Drake in the back of my mind, right? I said, Drake is betting on another fighter again. Like he lost big. You know what I'm saying? No, Justin Gaethje, he lost big. You know what I'm saying? So now he's betting $1 million. And they had the phone call. I say, why, Drake? Why would you do that to a fighter? especially a fighter like Adesanya, who's not a megastar yet. Why would you put that phone call out there and say you bet $1 million on it, and you don't know if this dude is strong enough to handle that load? And I was right. He wasn't. Adesanya went in there against Jared Cannonier. He had the range. He didn't want to take risk. That's the difference between him and John Jones, because John Jones would have stopped this dude. Now, I understand John Jones don't compete at 185, but all I'm saying is Israel Adesanya, I told y'all the other night, I'm not totally sold on him. He talks the talk. He can dance and all the other shit, but I'm not sold on him like I am Kamaru Usman. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sold on him. But with Israel Adesanya, he was in safe mode the whole night. Like he was just tat, 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 tat. His shit was different than Volkanovski's. Volkanovski was throwing popcorn in the microwave. You know what I'm saying? And the tap sound you heard from Israel Adesanya was him just, beating on the counter and shit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to find something to do. Trying to hope he get to the 5th round and end this fight. Cannonier, I blame him because this is a previous heavyweight. I blame him for not doing enough. It's almost like he was happy to be there. Now, of course, they're the fighters. They're the one that's splitting the cage. They walk through that door. You know what I'm saying? They splitting the cage entrance, going in there, one way in, one way out. You know what I'm saying? Unlike a boxing ring. One way in, one way out. The cage is locked. Cannonier is supposed to go to war with Adesanya. Give us something to remember. And, he just didn't give us that, man. He just didn't give us that energy. I don't get it, man. They talking about how big he was and everything. But guess what? He didn't put in on the display to land land his power shot against Adesanya because he wasn't committed to getting on the inside to take that risk. He wasn't committed, bro. Adesanya, man, you're the style bender, bro. I mean, damn, you're undefeated in the UFC and now people are booing you. You come in there paying homage to The Undertaker, but yet it seems like you're thinking about that $1 million bet that Drake put on your head. Some of these fighters try to get, acclimated to the culture because they feel that they're going to have that fan base support them at the end of the day. And Adesanya just didn't give us that intensity. You know what I'm saying? Who came there in a sold out fight card? Who came there to see you just pop shot? Try to land some low kicks. Most of the high kicks that you landed was over his head. You know what I'm saying? If you was really trying to dial in those high kicks, they was over his head. I mean, what you didn't even attempt to get in close to the clinch and see how strong he was on the consistency for round. So the crowd was booing him, man. The crowd was booing freaking Cannonier too. It's like, damn, dude, you just took a place as an opponent. That's all you did. You came in as an opponent and you fought, and it seems like, you wasn't confident about your cardio. You really wasn't able to shift the gears like we thought you would, bro. I was looking for you to bring all that muscle that you had and that previous experience at a heavier weight class to put that pressure on Adesanya, to find a way to break him down. But Adesanya picked up the win, bro. He picked up the win. And of course, the big thing is the talk of him and Alex Pereira, the guy who fought Sean Strickland and knocked him out. They both have that similar background. You have Adesanya and you have an old adversary in Pereira. A lot of people are going to say, okay, well, Pereira earned the knockout. I wouldn't take too much off of that, right? I wouldn't take too much data from his fight with Sean Strickland just because Adesanya was scared to take a risk with Cannonier. There's many factors that I can wage in how he fought. He might not have wanted to look too impressive in there against Cannonier, being that Pereira was, cage side and he was an onlooker. You know what I'm saying? He might have wanted to play that little mind game. I'm serious. This shit happens, bro. Or Adesanya was sitting up here, feeling some type of way about having $1 million on his head. Drake bet $1 million on Adesanya to win. So you think he's going to go in here and take risk? No, he wanted to sit up here and satisfy Drake. He wanted to satisfy the light skinned dude. I just want to let you know before your fight. We started from the bottom. Now we're here. I put $1 million on you. You understand? All right, long as we clear. You know what I'm saying? Hey, just like Big Boy said in ATL, right? When he rolled up on Evan. He said, boy, look at here. He said, what I tell you? He said, grown man business. That's what Drake was telling goddamn Israel Adesanya. This fight game, grown man business. What you do in the cage is what you do in the cage. But out here, when a guy like me put a bet on you, it's best you go in there and get my money. You understand that style, Bender? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, then. Don't go in there and take too much unnecessary risk with that dude. He came down from heavyweight. Dude is a big boy. But I ain't trying to lose no million either. All right? So you never know what was the plan. Was Adesanya feeling some type of way and taking risk and losing that meal? Or he wanted to have a mediocre, subpar performance because Pereira was ringside? Either way, it's not going to make a difference. Because if indeed they allow Pereira, who is 6-1 now, to come in there and fight Adesanya, who is 23-1, height for height, range for range, punch for punch, they match up very, very well. And they have a history. They have an absolute history with one another. They have a history, bro. Volkanovski was looking like Haney versus Kambosa and Max last night. Max definitely is not the best boxer anymore. Hell no. Hell no. I know I said, he's one of the best fighters in the sport. You know what I'm saying? I'm just coupling his hands compared to Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is definitely at a higher weight class, but it's no way that you're going to convince me his hands is better than Volkanovski. Nah, I don't see it. Volkanovski's hands are certified. That dude punches. Oh, man. He couldn't miss, man. Just like Snoop, he can't miss. Volkanovski couldn't miss, man, with Max Holloway. He couldn't miss, man. Even if he was throwing elbows or punches, he could not miss, man. And it wasn't because Max, wasn't moving or he was just giving him a stationary target. Every time Max even flinched, Volkanovski had already popped him with the jab. He had already lined him up. It was too easy. Main event was slightly underwhelming. Nothing atrocious, just could have been better for both fighters. It was borderline, man. I'm talking about very disappointing, man. Dissatisfied. For real. It was, man. It was all the way underwhelming, man. Adesanya, he's in a position now where he's supposed to go in there and entertain the crowd a bit, but also, fight in a way that is, not something that people start to boo because it seems like you're playing it safe. But like I said before, people are not gonna accredit me what I'm saying, but I'm just letting it be known. Like Drake put $1 million on Adesanya. He put $1 million out there. Adesanya was absolutely thinking about that when he was holding that urn, walking to the cage. You know what I'm saying? He was thinking about that shit. He was like, I got to go in here and win. Drake said he put $1 million on me. I can't go in here and lose $1 million. I want to be connected. I want Drake to invite me to the big parties, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. You think they don't think like that? I do. I think they do. Barberina had that elbow game on point last night. Yes, sir. I'm telling you, man. He broke up. Look, what Barberina was able to do is break up the monotony, man. The monotony was him and Lawler trading back and forth, punch for punch, punch for punch, punch for punch. Okay, they was just keeping one another on the end of their punches. They able to land the strikes, whether it was at distance on the inside or whatever. They was able to do the shit, right? But Barberena started breaking up the monotony with the elbows. He started breaking it up with the elbows. Them elbows, man, if you know how to land them and you know how to execute them, first of all, but you know how to land them up near the temple or the forehead, man, they can knock you off, knock your equilibrium off, man. And when he seen Robbie Lawler just start to stagger a little bit and try to regain his composure, it was over. It was over, man. It was absolutely over. It was good night. Time to turn on the showers and take it to the house. The WWE might charge Stylebender for that interest on. No, they're not gonna charge him for anything because they approved it. That's why they was there. That's why they was there, bro. They're not gonna charge him for anything. That's why they was there, because the cameras, they wanted to let the cameras know, hey, the McMahons are in the building. That's why the McMahons are here. If the McMahons are in the building, you know something popping. They just don't show up to fights like that. Alexander Volkanovski had the performance of the night, in my opinion. Yes, indeed. I'm the belt on deck. What's good? Yes, indeed. I agree. Pound for pound sports on deck. What's good with it? I agree. Well, even though Barberena, you have to look at how much Volkanovski took damage and how much Barberena took damage. I feel Barberena took more damage. You know what I'm saying? He was willing to trade in the exchanges. It was entertaining exchanges, real talk. It was entertaining. It was active. You know what I'm saying? It could have got way more violent, but Barberena shut that shit down with the elbows. And when it began to get violent, Lawler just couldn't handle the violence. He couldn't handle that assault from Barberena. With Max Holloway, he could. The only thing about it, Max is so tough that you have to save him from himself. You know, he's going to continue to take the punishment. He's going to continue to know he got a big ass cut on his head, and he's going to continue to fight. But for one, I don't think he really seen some of those right hands coming. You know what I'm saying? Because in his left eye, this shit was just bleeding. It was coming down off his brow on the inside of his eye. So you know he was a bit blind, but he kept a smooth poker face with that shit. And then when he started popping the left, popping that jab out there, Max, I believe he kind of seen it, but he just his reaction is done. It's burnt out. You know what I'm saying? The headquarters is not sending. Look, the headquarters is not sending command out quick enough. When it goes out, it has a problem crossing the synapses, man. I'm serious. The border patrol at the synapses, man. You know, they was putting no. Hold up, we gotta check your ID. Max was like, no, I need this to hurry up and get back. God damn it, I'm getting punched in the face. No, we gotta do our job, man. You know, we gotta make sure the synapses. Once you come over here, we gotta make sure everything is thorough, complete. Legit. And then when it comes back through, we can just let you come back smoothly. You know what I'm saying? So everything can be right. Those damn mechanical, commands that went out for Max Holloway. When his eyes visually seen the punch and that thought went down and registered, no, it was a delay. And that delay caused him to get punched in the face. Seriously. He just didn't know how to save himself. His mechanics is not there no more. He was like 2 or 3 steps behind Volkanovski yesterday. His eyes was telling him, "Oh, boy's punching." He was punching, but that shit was so quick. His thought process couldn't register, man, to respond and react to it on time. I don't know how long he's gonna be be in the game, but if Volkanovski freaking moves up to 155, then maybe Max Maybe he can gain another chip. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. Maybe he might want to consider something. You know what I'm saying? I hate bringing that R word in here, but he was just 2 and 3 steps behind Volkanovski, bro. Big dog in the building. What's good? Salute to you. So let's talk about the boxing topics that I put up there, right? I didn't put any boxing topics, but I just wanted to address something that went down that a lot of people are talking about. All right. So let me start with Shakur Stevenson. Hold up. What's this shit? Why are you even on? Okay. The situation that went down where Shakur Stevenson was on live and he was talking to Dante Boxing, right? And this happens sometime. Every now and then, channels will, receive that call out. You would have a fighter mention your name. Some of us would like for them to have kind words and support and everything, and tell them they appreciate what we're doing. And then other times it's to pretty much respond with criticism. So Shakur Stevens was pretty much on live responding to Dante's boxing, what he's been saying. What he felt some type of way about, what he disagreed with, and everything. And it's going to happen sometime because boxers, believe it or not, I know some boxers out here got fake accounts that be on these live streams in the chat. I mean, or they have their people come out here and do a recon mission and keep tabs on these channels and see what the topic's about and see what's being said. But Stevenson, he was pretty much making mention of Dante boxing because, okay, for instance, Bam Rodriguez, Shakur Stevenson and made the point to say, I like Bam Rodriguez. He can fight. I support him. And also Stevenson has said that, back in the day, Fury, he believed Tyson Fury can defeat Muhammad Ali. And he was pretty much saying that, Fury is like a 290-pound fighter and Ali was like, 220 or something like that. So it pretty much rubbed, I guess, Dante's boxing the wrong way to the point where he responded. And this wasn't really the case. It was a lead up to this where Dante had complained about Shakur, highlighting Bam Rodriguez and some other fighters. So it was some back and forth. And of course, once Shakur did that long extended live on Dante's boxing, you had to know that Dante was going to come back and respond to it. I mean, he's been in the game for a while. You know what I'm saying? He was going to definitely come back and explain his side of the story as to why he said what he said. I look at it like this. Shakur, if you're listening, you have some good media out here, right? That absolutely support the sport and the fighters. But one thing I've learned as a grown ass man, independent media, is that I cannot please everybody. Nor is no way for me to explain to you that if I supported every fighter in a healthy way, they would say I was deriding. If you went around here and was nice and courteous to every fighter, they say you deriding. They say you're doing too much, this, that, and the other. And as media, as myself, I listen to this stuff and I was like, damn, all I'm doing is being courteous. Especially, to my people. I'm being courteous. I'm glad to see you lacing up. You got a big name going on. You're out here making money and history. Some of these fighters like Shakur Stevenson felt that he supported Dante's boxing back in the day. You know what I'm saying? He supported the man back in the day. He felt it should be a certain level of respect, regardless of who he thought this fighter was good. He might have, Dante might have felt some type of way about the Muhammad Ali situation with Tyson Fury. Who knows? But what I cannot advocate for is how another man is feeling. If Shakur is out here, voicing his complaint about Dante, I can't go up here and as a grown ass man and attempt to change how he feeling. He voiced his opinion. He's known Dante boxing longer than I have. I don't really know him like that at all. I don't know him. I don't know Dante's boxing like that. I didn't say I ain't know his channel. I don't know him like that. But what we do know that's going on with the social media shit, it's a lot more boxers that's reaching out to address social media. And not all of it's good. A lot of it's not good. They're not addressing us in a positive way. Like you have some that like bragging on themselves a lot. They have the followers and they'll brag and they've been around and they built up the subscribers and stuff like that. And fighters will shout them out. Like I said, if you independent media like myself and you come up there with a different type of courtesy, applying military background, applying my experience with the sport and interviewing people, you know what I'm saying? And just giving them that respect. But yet I don't have a team working for me and everything. I've had fighters feel some type of way. I didn't jump on social media and blast their name out. I think the only reason Shakur said what he said because he had that history with Dante's boxing. And he didn't feel that what Dante was complaining about or being critical about when it comes to Stevenson, he didn't feel it was warranted. He didn't feel that Shakur Stevenson supporting Bam Rodriguez, there were some other fighters out there that he could have been supporting. I don't know. He could have been assuming that, okay, there's many black fighters out here you can support too besides Rodriguez. But I even said, he looked good in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Dude's a young lion in the game. Shakur Stevens is Puerto Rican and black. He's always been on record for his pound for pound list. And yes, he had Canelo on his pound for pound, but yeah, he had Crawford. He had a lot of cats on his pound for pound list that was black. For real. A dude like me, the experience I done had with Shakur Stevenson, no matter what people want to say about where he's from Newark, and what he did outside the ring, he was always respectful with me. I never had an issue with the dude at all. And I've seen him on several occasions. I'm not up here to be a babysitter. That man is grown. He's up here fighting in a combat sport. I'm not up here to be a babysitter, no man, off what they're saying to another man. But the only reason why I'm mentioning this particular subject with Shakur doing his live on Dante's boxing, Dante responding, was that it all boils down to what goes on social media. We're saying a lot on these channels, but it's not really cultivating any more growth than where we at. It's almost like you have voices out here that's been out here doing this shit for a long time. And in order for them to get attention, they're going to continue to say shit that's going against the grain on certain fighters. And when that fighter calls them out, they feel that it was well worth it because now more people are going to tune in to them to talk about the topic for 2 damn weeks. I'm just saying from what I see. It's no growth that's going to come from dogging these fighters out on a regular basis, especially if it's a fighter you don't like. I wouldn't want no fighter to call my name out just so I can do a live on it and respond to him and all this other shit. It's no benefit to me. You know what I'm saying? But I hope they work that shit out. Once again, people are going to say it's 2 brothers, it's 2 black men up here going at it on social media. And then, people are getting on Shakur Stevenson about him and what he said about media. And I basically reached out to him and I was like, bro, this is not all media. This is not all media, bro. This is not all media. You cannot group all media into the same group. You cannot sit up here and encapsulate what the words of one man said and allow that to precipitate on all media to the point where it dissuades you from fucking with us. No, man, we want you to, we want to get that interview with you. We want to see your rise. We want to have access. But some people have more access than others. So they feel that they don't have to give Shakur Stevenson that respect that he used to get because they had the respect of many other people. That's the way I look at it. Some of these cats have more respect. They feel that they have way more respect out here in the boxing streets, and they just don't have to zone in on one specific fighter. So as they grow, some of these cats may feel that, hey, I know plenty of star fighters out here. If you get mad at what I said, they might say it was just constructive criticism. Because I always tell these cats that's on YouTube and these media dudes, if you're not breaking bread or these individuals not calling you up and paying for your expenses, they say, hey man, I want you to drop in this and giving you exclusive access to to this event right here. I know you media, what I'm saying, I support you heavy. Come on down. If those individuals are not contacting you voluntarily and inviting you to these exclusive events or inviting you to get close to their family, then all you are is just a remote entity that covers the sport of boxing. That's it. That's it. You might get a cosign here and there, but I'm telling you, the real ones, you get invited to events. They give you the exclusive. You get invited to events. If these cats ain't inviting me to events, I'm like, cool. I don't look for it. Like if somebody's not shooting your email behind the scene or hitting you up in the DM and saying, hey, this is going on right here. I want to know if you can come. If somebody asks you to visit or cover an event, they should understand that, okay, here's the arrangements. Just let me know if you're going. I'll make all the arrangements, get you a hotel and everything. Get your travel right. You just let me know. That's when you feel good that somebody's taking care of you and you go in there with a different type of energy. You know what I'm saying? You feeling deep down inside like, damn, people are recognizing my work and it feels good. But that shit don't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't happen. And look, the media that look for that shit to happen like that, then you're in the wrong position, man. You're in the wrong occupation to think you're gonna get close to these boxers and their family, and then all of a sudden you have a falling out, and they never was close to you, and you go up there saying some slick shit. Now it becomes personal. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to be around these fighters for quite some time before they became big. Once they became a star, they still fucking with you, and then they can accept you. They have that sense of security. They know so and so is official, and I don't have to worry about them. But the ones that's coming in when you already on deck and you got a name, depending on if you big across the other layer of social media, and they can look you up and say, hey, so and so a big deal. Okay, let me goddamn invite him to the party because that's gonna give me more exposure and that's gonna give him more exposure. You know what I'm saying? It don't happen like that though. Okay, D-Ray on deck. What's good with it, D-Ray? Alexander say, to me, Shakur didn't need to explain himself. You don't have to prove your blackness to anyone. Once you black, that's that. I agree with what you're saying. He really, I don't think Shakur was trying to explain himself. I just believe he was addressing the information or comments that he heard about him. Retro Boxing Documentaries, what's good? What's good? Shout out to Blood Boxing in the building, man. I'm just over there listening you and Boxing Historian and Black and Brown, man. Over there cook for a second. Man, y'all be damn sure to check out Blood Boxing, man. Appreciate you pulling up, OG. How you feel? Mitch say Shakur versus Dante is where we need to apply the AB clip. Shut that soft shit up. Shakur is learning some of these dudes are funny style. I wouldn't per se like look at it this way. What Shakur is doing, like some of these voices has been around the game for quite some time. They extremely biased, man. They do have their biasness. And then when it get to the point where if you was rocking out with somebody and they start talking a different type of language that you ain't used to hearing about. You say, damn, is so-and-so still fucking with me? Are they trying to fuck with me? And I think that's what Shakur was like. Hey, Dante, when I was 17 years old, this, and this was going down. And, and I was giving you a shout out. I was always providing access for you and your guy. What's going on now? And then I listened to Dante's shit. He was like, regardless of who I am to you or how close you think we are, whatever, it's not going to stop me for speaking my truth or what have you. And we all know in the sport of boxing, speaking your truth doesn't sit right with some of these individuals that are being punched in the head. You know what I'm saying? These guys are being punched in the head. They're in a combat sport. Their occupation consists of violence, assaulting their adversary. But yet from the outside looking in, we up here like, this is an intervention. Okay. This is an intervention. Calm down. I want you to use your inside voice. No, that shit don't happen. You're dealing with boxers, bro. I told you about when I drove up to Cincinnati and I was in there interviewing this boxer. I'm not going to put his name out there. Dude had a flashback in front of me where his eyes started glossing up and, some PTSD was coming out. And he told me, he said, I'll get back with you. I think that's better for both of us. We wasn't even on some negative shit. We wasn't even on no negative shit. It's just, we're talking about a boxer who was in there with some of the best names. I didn't even know he was going to show up. And we was up there chopping up in the interview. I never even posted his interview, to be honest. I never even posted his interview because like the interview stopped mid-interview and it wouldn't even be right for me to even post because it wasn't no conclusion to it. Like it wasn't even enough information. Like dude had a flash, you know what I'm saying? He had a flashback. He had an outburst with another boxer that same day that they was about to throw hands in the parking lot. I don't know what it was, man, but all I remember, I knew I was in Cincinnati, bro. I was in the house with a whole bunch of fighters. So I'm pretty sure if Dante and Shakur, are they really cool like that, they'll work this shit out or not. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of bullshit that goes on in this YouTube streets. It's a lot of bullshit, man. I don't know how we're gonna grow with this. I don't know how we're gonna continue to become something that's people look into and say, let me go in here and fuck with this channel on YouTube. Let me support that channel. Let me support that person. We have too many channels that's basically involved in passing rhetoric. And that shit is now getting out to more fighters because the fighters are now coming into the jungle, right? They're coming into the jungle, but they're not actually in the jungle like that. They already been in the jungle as fighters. They're coming to set up shop on the outskirts. They're setting up their new channel, bro. They're starting their new podcast. And they're taking bits and pieces from channels who've been here doing it because just because they box, that doesn't mean they know how to get in front of the camera and start a podcast. So if you think they don't leech off the ones that's been in here doing it for a while, you're sadly mistaken. They absolutely take take content and they build upon that shit and they try to get better at what they doing. That doesn't mean they're going to fuck with us. They're just saying, hey, the boxers that you want to talk to, now you're going to tune into my channel and watch me talk to them because I actually split the ropes and I went in there and contended and I got damn fought. I'm going to take what you trying to get super chats for all the time and now I'm going to have them come to my channel. That's what's going to happen. And that's what's actually happened. More fighters are starting up a podcast and they feel that that's only exposure that they need. They don't need to come to our channel to talk and give interviews. The only time you're really gonna, in the next 2 or 3 years, the only way that you're gonna be able to get these interviews is that you show up to a fight. I've seen a female that I was covering when she was on the regional level, like nobody knew her. Like she barely had any subscribers, any of that shit, bro. She barely didn't have no likes, man. She was just old family, old wife. You know what I'm saying? She was a wife. She's not old. She's young actually, but she was just a wife. That was her family setting. She started off boxing. Had some okay. She had some ragu, some soft touches. They was trying to build her up, but yet she was homing in her skills and she was building up her skills in other areas of combat sports. Right? Nobody knew her. I was covering this chick. Now she's on the highest tier fighting. She have thousands upon thousands of people that tune in to her because she loved the blood. You know what I'm saying? She done been on TV fighting. I mean, done changed up her whole identity. Like she's on a whole nother level now. A whole entire different level. And people tune in to her. She's interviewing with, look, at one point in time, she was interviewing with me. Now she's interviewing with the top people that's up there. She signed a contract, got paid pretty damn good. I'm assuming, and she's on TV, man, and people like her because she's all about that smoke. So not everybody can hit that superstardom, but I mean that doesn't mean I can just hit her up and say, hey, can I get that interview? You remember, we took some pictures, we talked, we interviewed. I even still to this day, I got a number. Still to this day, I have a number. If I want to call her up and try to call, talk about something or whatever, I got a number, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I can when I want to. But man, back to Dante's boxing and Shakur Stevenson. I hope they work that shit out. And you have to understand, you're dealing with fighters at the end of the day. Real talk. You're dealing with individuals that take punishment to the head. You're dealing with individuals that have a different sense of socializing with people. All I'm saying to Shakur Stevenson, big dog, you're a young lion coming up in life, man. Don't let one people deter you from fucking with the rest of us. That's all I'm saying, man. He didn't need to explain himself. Yeah, man, he didn't need to explain himself to Dante. I don't look, blood. I don't even know that I can say that he was explaining himself. I know where you're going. And you're right. When it comes down to him explaining himself about Bam Rodriguez, his pound for pound list, and the situation with Tyson Fury and Ali. I understand. Yeah, he was explaining. I thought the live was just to highlight that, hey, what's going on with you, bro? I gave you all the access you needed. I thought we was cool. I thought we was on the same sheet of music as far as respect goes. And it seems like Shakur felt that Dante had been saying some slick shit about him that he didn't agree with, so he wanted to address it. But I agree, he didn't have to come on line and start explaining himself. He didn't have to elaborate. I mean, Shakur Stevenson, dude, you're a two-weight champion, 3-time world champion. I mean, it's a lot of shit you got going on, man. Like I said, when I was with him and the mayor, Josh Greer Jr., Nate, and I saw them at the recreation center in Newark. Man, it was at one point in time, I called him when he was coming in. It was just me and him. He was respectful. He didn't say, get out my fucking face. You know what I'm saying? When I was there with him and the kids, where it all started for Shakur Stevenson at the Bowling Street Recreation Center, I mean, they was cool, bro. Professional, all that shit. Very professional. I'm just mad at the last press conference where he unified with Oscar Valdez. That shit broke out because I was next to ask the question after Mike Coppinger. You know what I'm saying? I just really wanted to kind of seize that moment, be a part of that moment with him unifying that division, because you never know where it's going to lead. If he's going to be able to unify that 130-pound division, or he's going to end up moving up to 135, we don't know. But I think it was just diminished with what happened with certain protocols not being in place, individuals not knowing who his mother was, and everything else. Retro said he needs to be his own man. Since everyone wants to compare Ali Cassius Clay was his own man. He came up as a teenager on the camera in the early 1960s, and even his father allowed him to grow. Look, what I can say in response to that, their blood, is that, you're totally correct that Ali was a different type of man when it came to what he had to endure back then. He was absolutely cut from a different cloth. His entire mentality was definitely on a higher scale than what we see today. It's a lot of cats won't stand on anything. They won't stand on anything, but they will stand with other cats to try to get them all to agree together, and they all wrong. I have a saying: you have the absolute right. You have the right to be absolutely wrong. I say it all the time. You have the right to be absolutely wrong. Muhammad Ali stood on his square, man, and that square was large. For somebody to say, you know what, I'm a champ, but yet I'm not going over to Vietnam to fight somebody else's war. What we call that today is a conscientious objector, and you will get put in the brig for that. Ali was he was confined, he was incarcerated. He was stripped of his title, and then he came back to the sport. For a man to place himself in that position, knowing that it's going to take away what he put in all that rigorous training for, he worked his ass off for, that's all going to be stripped away, and people are going to look at him in the worst manner and say, oh, you don't want to go to the draft. You're a draft dodger. You don't want to go fight for your country. I tell people all the time, one man is not going to change you fighting for your country. It's many of my comrades that are in that's buried, that's no longer with us, and they was a part of a team. They wasn't that lone ranger that went out there and they gave him, oh, you got enough ammo, you got the K-bars, you got this, okay, go out there and fight that war. No, we fight as a unit. So if you're going to blast one man for not going to war, and he was a conscientious objector, and he didn't want to fight somebody else's war, you got to look at the intelligence of it all. You got to look at his bravery too. He was brave for that shit. They could have killed Ali for that. Do you know back then how people really invested their time and effort for service back then? For especially blacks. First of all, in certain aspects, according to how far you go back, they wanted us on the front lines to fight. But in some cases, they didn't want us with a gun. Vietnam was a bad, bad place, man. But shout out to Ali, man, for what he's been able to do, or basically set the example as a black man coming up. Even his changes in Islam, I know he went through that. He just was back there in a time where he stood out for his activism, and he doesn't get enough credit for it. We're up here arguing the fact that Shakur Stevenson said Tyson Fury may indeed defeat Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? Because of his size. He's just saying his size. You know what I'm saying? His size. But then I look at it like this. This is how I would caveat to that. You have lighter fighters that step in the ring this damn time and still able to win up to a point. We've seen that with Wilder several times when he was like in his low 200s. Tyson Fury proved that he's a different fighter than Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was still able to drop that same heavy ass fighter in Tyson Fury. He was still able to drop him, but he wasn't able to defeat him. So we can praise Shakur Stevenson for giving his professional assessment and saying, okay, when it all comes down to it, I believe that Tyson Fury would have defeated Muhammad Ali. But then you have the boxing heads like myself would say, okay, are you talking about in this era or that era? Because they was fighting more rounds back then. Could Tyson Fury at that weight contend the amount of rounds that they were back then? You know what I'm saying? Could he? We'll never know. We saw him defeat George Foreman. Would he be able to use some of those same tactics? We don't know. But respect him for his opinion. That's all. We can't just jump on board and say, where it was a black man and he should be supporting all black men. All black people don't get along. We should understand that. Real talk. All black people don't get along. Right side in the building. What's good? Salute WCS in the chat. Salute to you. All black people don't get along, man. All white people don't get along. All that shit. You know what I'm saying? This era right here is quite different when I was raised, man. Real talk. I ain't never seen so many cats want to be in a group though. You know what I'm saying? To validate who they are as a person in life, man. Be yourself. Mitch say people wonder why boxers don't be fucking with dudes like that. A boxer shows support for a channel, and once the channel disagrees with something a fighter does, there's no courtesy. You have to stand on something. I mean, you have to stand on something. You have to be willing to say something uncomfortable. You have to have enough courage to say something uncomfortable. Everything in life is not a comfortable setting. But when you say something uncomfortable, you hoping the maturity on the distant end, whoever you was directing towards, they had the maturity to understand that you was just providing constructive criticism. And it was an uncomfortable statement that you made. Not disrespectful, just something that was uncomfortable. Like, this is something I don't want to say, but this is what I'm doing, and this is the way my assessment is. That's my opinion. Not everybody's going to accept that shit like that. We don't have a maturity level that resonates across the board with everybody for them to accept constructive criticism. That shit don't happen like that. We have a lot of biased shit that goes down on this social media, and it's all about the clicks. It's all about the clicks, man. I hate when niggas say speaking their truth. Man, listen, that's what I was just saying, Mitch. Like, they'll say it's truth, but really all they're doing is just being subjective or objective. You know what I'm saying? Opinion is not based off fact. And then everybody's depth of boxing knowledge is different. Everybody's way of thinking is different. So you really can't consider yourself the number one this, the number one that when it comes to the boxing shit, because it's just too much that you either know or don't know. It's just too much out there. It's too much information. But my gripe is the ones who sit up here and act like they the best on this YouTube shit. It shouldn't be a competition. It should be more so a cohesive unit where people can start looking at it in a respectful way that say we put out some productive content. We put productive content out in this motherfucker. That's what we do. If you want to goddamn, learn a little bit more about boxing, go hear the YouTube, man. They got this channel, that channel, that channel. But I think more so right now, they're looking at this shit like I always say, like a damn parking lot carnival, man. It's not every channel, but it's like a parking lot carnival, bro. If you want to laugh a little bit, you just starting to get your drink for the night, you want to roll one up. Sometimes it's good to drop through YouTube to kind of get your little, tear jerker in. Oh yeah, that shit's hilarious. God damn, what the fuck you talking about? Oh, that's funny as hell. What the fuck am I watching? This is the place, man. See what on deck? What's good? Salute, World Combat Sports. Salute to you, see what. I don't like the Ali comparison, the matchup with Fury. But Fury's big ass shit. I understand where Shakur was coming from, but I didn't like hearing that shit either. It's just his opinion. Look, Ali is one fighter. He's one fighter. I would have loved to have the opportunity to share the room with Ali when he was still living, to at least have just one moment where we can have a dialogue. It would have been great, man. You know what I'm saying? It would have been great, but it wasn't the case. And I'm not up here to be a defender of Ali every time somebody making a comment about him as a fighter, because you're just not going to have people that's all on the same wavelength to say Ali. You talk that about Ali, you say Tyson Fury. Listen, I would never say Tyson Fury would defeat Muhammad Ali. I wouldn't. I just thought the mindset and the boxing IQ on the way Ali thought is still above Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? I commend Tyson Fury to be able to fight for the size that he has and what he's able to do with that rambunctious frame and weight that he carries around. You know, he can do what he want to do, but I still consider him a dirty fighter. I still consider him a super dirty fighter. You know what I'm saying? Even though he beat, Deontay Wilder and he shut the trilogy down, I still believe, we can't sit up here and say, well, we want to praise Tyson Fury as one of the, the best heavyweight champion in boxing without looking at when he actually unified the titles. Was he actually clean during that era? How many fights did that actually go down? All that shit, bro. All that. That's all I'm saying. Like, I just still look at Muhammad Ali as a way better boxer than Tyson Fury. I just look at him as a way better boxer. Shit he used to do back then, how clever he did it, his execution, his confidence in the ring. I mean, Ernie Terrell, man. Ernie Terrell, he came up there and wanted to continue to call him Cassius Clay. He says, I'm going to make you say my name. Say my name. No, sucker, say my name, Muhammad Ali. You still, what's wrong with you, Joker? Don't call me Cassius Clay. My name is Muhammad Ali. I'm going to make you say my name. Don't worry. I'm going to make you say my name. God damn, Ali, bro. Man, Ali wasn't afraid to move the room either, dog. He would lock up with a motherfucker, dog. Back up. Back up. He wasn't afraid, dog. In this particular era, man, you don't have, you're including social media to this whole genre right here. Social media just provides people with power. Like when I grew up, we just did the face-to-face shit. We had to walk. We had landlines and shit, but a lot of landlines, you didn't want to call the house because you don't know where a person's going to be if they was home. They just had a landline. We didn't have mobile phones like that. You know what I'm saying? So you had the people that you met, it was face-to-face. You had that perception right in front of you. You was able to see how a person was, assess their character. It's just a lot with meeting somebody face to face and knowing who you're dealing with. Now on social media, you have a lot of people that you don't know who they are. None. They can be the biggest unscrupulous person that you ever met in your freaking life. Well, as long as they hide behind that avatar, that comfort zone for them is everything. They'll talk their shit. Then they'll say some bullshit just to get a reaction, and they'll laugh, and they got their fix for the day, and then they'll shut it down and come back another day. You don't know who. You look, it's some people on here that's been talking with people behind avatars for a year and a half, 2, 3. They never even seen their face, dog. They never even seen their face, man. You know how many verbal sparring wars that goes on this social media game with people that you ain't never seen in your life? You never seen them in your life, and they up there saying some bullshit that people up here trying to co-sign on just because they know them from an avatar. We're dealing with fucking avatars, people. How can dude criticize who Shakur decides to show love to? Everybody in the game was showing Bam love after the fight. It was well deserved. I agree with that. I agree. I mean, look, I'm not the type of dude that want to sit up here and despise somebody just because you do. Now, if it's obvious and somebody's done did some shit that has resonated, you know what I'm saying, to everybody, I'm talking about it's just ballooned into something crazy. That's different. What I'm talking about in this boxing game, from what we witnessed with him fighting Carlos Kudras and Sor Rungvisai, he did a damn good job. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, if you're not willing to praise the man because he took a last minute fight, moved up a division and got the job done You know what I'm saying? I mean, he became champion, bro. You know, he did it. He didn't come in there and just stay on the outside and play it safe like Adesanya. He went in there and got the job done. And then he came in there and got a knockout. Everybody ain't gonna be pleased with what the fuck you talking about. The shit that I got into, like the people who disagreed with me in the military, I'll never take it back. Like the times I actually stood up where I knew I was gonna, have those consequences, I'll never take it back. Because when I feel like somebody else is trying to make moves in life and trying to advance, and they feel the only way they are able to do that is surf on the back of someone else, you know what I'm saying, that may be swimming in the same waters as them, and they feel, no, I'm gonna try to drown your ass. I'm not gonna try to take you to shore with me. They're the ones I can't respect. I can't respect that shit. They trying to pretend like they all about making it to shore with you, but yet they trying to say, hey, can you help me out? I got a cramp, and they get on your back and they trying to jump up and down and push you underwater. I can't put any respect on that shit where people try to treat others like they subordinate just so they can have themselves feeling a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? They can feel invigorated off that. Nah, be your own self, man. This boxing game is broken, bro. This YouTube shit is broken. There's not no one channel is gonna be able to fix this YouTube shit. If you look at it closely, the boxing community on YouTube is slowly fading away, man. Like it's fading away to the content for which we're supposed to be pushing. It's fading away for a lot of people to accept it with a serious thought. Let me put serious thought into going over here to YouTube to listen to some boxing talk. It's fading away. Now it's becoming something similar to reality TV, gossip, just vlogging, miscellaneous topics where people just going at each other's throats. People threatening one another on social media. Goddamn promising to drop locations. And all along, these people got families sitting behind them. They're sitting in they're in a resident with their family. They have jobs, they have all that, but yet they're on here threatening people and shit on YouTube. Knowing damn well they ain't gonna do a motherfucking thing, I mean, this shit has became crazy, dog. And then not to mention race. I heard my boy Black and Brown talking about it, he's right. A lot of the topics that's on YouTube when it comes to boxers is dealing with race. It's dealing with race all the fucking time. And who's to say you got to give me permission to support somebody outside my race? You don't. I can do what the fuck I want to do. I don't have to ask you for permission. I support fighters from all different races, man, different combat sports. I'm fascinated with their skill set and what they've been able to accomplish and what they're trying to accomplish. And I ain't gonna just go around here. You can't go around here and just support all black fighters. Because like I said before, and I say it again, my people, they may not have helped you build up to where you at right now. And you may look at it like, okay, I did a lot of work and I appreciate I pat myself on the back. But I've been a part of that where my people would try to tear shit all the way fucking down that they didn't help build. They didn't help build it. We have a bad habit of doing that shit. We'll try to destroy every fucking thing, everything that person's built from the foundation up to where it's at right now. They try to tear all that shit to the ground. And then they sit back and say, okay, I just showed you how much power I got. It happens, man. One thing I don't need permission either. As a black man from the South, I don't need permission to talk on shit that I experienced. Just to be clear, I'll probably pick Fury to win a fight, but in no way do I believe he is greater than Ali. I just look at, their skill set as fighters. It's just so in depth, man. It's so much to choose from when you're talking about Fury and Ali. Their styles are totally different. Their size are different. They came up in two different eras. You know what I'm saying? We had more rounds back then. It was a whole different process. It wasn't no social media back then. Could Fury would be a different person back then, man. He would be a different person. You got to look at the amount of drug testing that wasn't present back then in boxing. I'm not talking about performance. I'm talking about cocaine, crack, heroin, all this other shit. You got to factor all that in. You know, if a fighter who had problem with sobriety in this era, would he have problems with sobriety back then if he was in the era of Ali? He said he had to go to Publix. I hear that, man. Publix is one of my favorite stores too. Real talk. But man, we definitely have to stand up. I'm definitely not, I'm being honest. I'm not here. I know the real ones. I totally understand the real ones and how they move. You know, there's some real ones on this motherfucker. It is. It's some real ones that I know that will stand up. They won't just sit up there and agree. I go up here and say, hey man, if Floyd came back, right? You know, as a brother, right? He'll defeat Canelo. You understand? And there's right. I don't need that. I would want somebody to educate me and say, this is why I disagree with what you're talking about. This is why I disagree with what you're saying. I'm gonna explain to you why. And it won't be on some, okay, listen, dumbass nigga. I'm gonna tell you some shit you ain't obviously heard, right? For you to even talk about the bullshit you trying to talk about. No, I want to get educated. Tell me why you disagree. That Floyd, besides his age, that he wouldn't go in there and beat Canelo, this, that, and the other. I know Dion like, man, let's not talk about that shit. But man, shout out to Shakur Stevenson, man. Everybody's talking about him taking time. I would have rather him, use that time to talk about what's next for him. You know what I'm saying? His fight coming up with Robson. I would have liked for him to talk about that. So I could have did a live on, Shakur talking about something that's actually on his itinerary. Well, but we got two black people going back and forth at it, doing videos, and people are tuned in. That's unfortunate. Seriously, that's unfortunate, man. But this damn 4th of July weekend, man, I'm still waiting. One day, they said that the announcement was going to be the 4th of July. Hey, I'm telling you. Y'all up here talking about that announcement going to be the 4th of July. I'm about to switch subjects for a minute, man. This is going to be my last topic I speak on. People's, those voices was up here vocalizing that the big announcement would be the 4th of July. I've heard several shit come out. Now I'm hearing that both fighters have signed. All right. I don't think it does us any good on YouTube to say both fighters have signed. And it's a lot more to the contractual agreement that needs to be taken care of. Why put out that both fighters have signed? All right, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. And then go along the fence line and say, well, they don't know what the venue. I'm going to tell you like this. That's cap. That's motherfucking cap. They know what the venue. They know the venue already. Believe me, I say that shit on the strength. They know the venue already. For somebody to come out and say, okay, they both signed the fight. Because I don't know why we still talking about this when it was said there was 55-45. They agreed upon already. Now I guess the language is they agreed upon back then. Now they actually signed the document. Now they're just trying to figure out the venue. So you actually believe that we're going to work in reverse? They're going to sign a fight for a certain amount of money without having the allocation in the venue to link that shit up to base the numbers off of? You trying to tell me they're going to sign a motherfucking contract without knowing the venue for which they're going to allocate the numbers? How the fuck they going to come up here and sign a contract for a certain amount of money and you don't know what the allocated numbers are going to be for the ticket sales? Are we working with 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 seats? How are we going in reverse with this shit, man? It makes no sense. Like, how are you going to sign a contract and nobody's came up with a venue for the numbers that you're basing these contract signings off of on a fighter making this, that, and the other? Because the person that's going to be so-called funding, they have to know what the investment is for them signing the fight. What are the fighters asking? Okay, it was out there that Terrence Crawford was asking 25 to 30 million. How are they basing that off of? They can't base that shit off Walmart parking lot. They have to have some type of entity where the fight's going to be to kind of give an estimate. Okay, this is where the fight's going to be. We're going to allocate this amount of seats. And then, depending on the gate, okay, the gate, we're going to base these front end numbers, the guarantee money, and we're going to base the percentage off the back end off the estimate on PPV sales and everything else. You think they don't have a venue already set up? You think that's how it works on this high level? These people don't operate like that. They're not just going up here and say, you know what, we're just going to focus our effort into Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence getting this contract signed. All this shit comes together. All this shit with the contract. And when they go in there and talk, say, this is the deal. We are attempting to schedule the fight at this venue. Even if the fight is even close to being signed, we don't know what the fuck is going on. But let's just say the fight has serious talks going on. With those serious talks, somebody, anybody, everybody's going to ask, so what venue are we talking about? Are we talking about the Hard Rock Cafe? Are we talking about T-Mobile? Are we talking about Allegiant Stadium? What are we talking about? So since we're talking about T-Mobile, right? So we take the T-Mobile and we talk about the allocated seats that we're gonna go off of, and then we're trying to come into negotiation. They start talking about negotiation between both fighters, and that's when the numbers get very, very heavy on what the guarantee money can be off the gate. You know what I'm saying? What they think they're gonna make off the gate, what the guarantee money they can assure this particular fighter is asking. Let's just say it's Terrence Crawford. Whatever he wants, I can give a fuck about his money. That's his money. So they kind of factor that in on where the fight's going to be held. And then what they want to agree on as far as the percentage of the pay-per-view. And the only way they can really talk about the pay-per-view on the back end money is percentages, that they have a venue. And they already have, if the fight's going down, how many times they're going to have promo for that fight. What the schedule is going to look like. If they're going to have 2 to 3 pressers, are they going to have a press tour for this fight? Because it's the magnitude of how big the fight, they're going to factor all that in. They have all this planned, man. They're not in a phase 1 of business. We're talking about Al Heyman, and we're talking about all those cats, Tom Brown. We're talking about Showtime, Steven Espinosa. We're talking about every fucking body. You actually think they're just focused on paperwork? And then when the question is arose, they say, hey, what, 25, 30, this percent, 50, this and that. Do we have a venue yet? Do we have a venue? No, we haven't thought about that, to be honest. We just wanted to get the numbers straight first. We don't even, man. Charlie, do you have a venue? No, man. Like I told you before, we can't nowhere close to a venue. We don't even know. That's just not the way it works, people. Because in one sense, they're saying they don't have the numbers for Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence to base off what should be paid to each fighter, right? They want to say that Errol Spence has these PPV numbers, but not Terrence Crawford. So together, collectively, and for 2 fighters, They don't know how much this fight's gonna do. Well, news alert. That goes from any big fight. Unless you that creme de la creme, that cash cow and Money Mayweather when he was doing it. Like, they didn't even know what the numbers was going to be with Canelo and some of the fights he had. You think they sent him in there with Rocky Fielding for big numbers? No. You think he went there for Callum Smith for big numbers? No. Billy Joe Sanders, did he do crazy numbers? No. Caleb Plant, did he think he was just because Canelo's going to do big numbers? They just going off the strength of who he was as a person. Caleb Plant didn't have the substantiated numbers. Billy Joe Sanders didn't. Neither did Callum Smith. Dimitri Bivol definitely didn't have those type of numbers. So why is it so fucking difficult for Crawford and Spence to happen? Especially when there was $100 million deal out that motherfucker. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, man. It makes no sense at all, bro. None at all. That this fight is taking and going through so much rigmarole that they up here acting like it's all brand new. They've been here before, bro. They've been here. They absolutely been here before. Neither fighter, neither Errol Spence nor Terrence Crawford, has astounding numbers when it comes to pay-per-view. None of them. They're just going off the strength of what we're talking about out here, where they at in their divisions, where they sit on the pound-for-pound list, what they've been able to accomplish in their career, and they're going off that. It's really no solid numbers to say that this fight is going to do 600,000. This fight would do upwards of 800. The promotion that's planning this fight have to take a risk. The fight's going to be on pay-per-view, but they have to take a risk. They have to spend money and look at it like with the investors and everything in hopes of making. They're going to make some money on the back end, but they want to make an incredible amount of money so everybody can be appeased monetarily at the end. They need to make sure they're satisfied. They have full bellies. They don't these investors and everybody, they don't want to be hungry on the back end now. They want to be satisfied to the point where they burp. You know what I'm saying? If they ain't burping, that means they still hungry. When they Retro say that's a damn great point. D-Ray said, when they in their 20s, I have Ali. In the 30s, maybe Fury. It's a tough choice to make. You know what I'm saying? Ali has passed away already. Just imagine, like, once again, imagine how this still garners the conflict the way it does, that energy. Ali has passed away. So basically, you're taking someone in this era who's fought one of the more prominent names in heavyweight in Deontay Wilder, and he's still the reigning defending WBC champion, right? His name is in the company of Ali because certain people want to put it there. Ali has passed away. We can go up here and put Fury's name in the company of a lot of heavyweights that was back then. It will always register the same negative input because we don't know what it would be like. It's just in hindsight, we're trying to create a theory. You know what I'm saying? In theory, this may happen if these two fighters fought. We don't know. Totally two different eras, man. Two different freaking eras. Two different eras. For real, two different eras, man. That's all you can say. We can't go ahead and exhume these fighters and say, hey, I just need you for one night. Can you do it? We're going to bring you back to life, goddammit. I know you haven't fought in years, but we're going to bring you back to life. All right, Sugar Ray? All right, can you do it? All right, man. Don't get too used to this life. We got to see you back, man. But we want you to have one fight. Just one fight. Man, come on, man. You should be talking about, can some of these fighters would have been able to handle Sugar Ray? You know what I'm saying? That dude was a motherfucking beast. And it's just too many heavyweights. People mention Jack Johnson and then turn around and say, well, I mean, those guys back then fought fought through adverse conditions. I mean, stupid conditions. They was battling racism and all that shit back then. I mean, it was just a whole different era, man, where it gets a little crazy. You just can't say just strictly boxing skills. You got to look at the environment for which they was in. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much to fucking deal with. Lack of drug testing, the mob, too many people to deal with, bro. I mean, it's too many situations to put it all together and come up with a definitive answer without people just losing their fucking mind and going to war and saying, how can you say that, man? So and so would have beat so and so today. We all know the heavyweights ain't the way they used to be in this day and time. But also, you have to factor in it's more jobs that people are in this day and time, vice back then. You have more opportunities today than you had coming up as a boxer back then in those days. It was a lot different, man. And of course, that racism played a big deal. It was only certain areas. You know what I'm saying? Boxers was boxing in different conditions back then. They had to fight through the struggle. I would say T-Mobile. I would think T-Mobile there, D-Ray. I would think T-Mobile. I know it's easy for people to say Allegiant Stadium and all that, but is Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, are they going to pledge their allegiance though, to believe that they will pack out Allegiant Stadium? We really don't have those numbers to validate that. Can they do well in T-Mobile? Absolutely. And that's where UFC 276 just was last night at the T-Mobile. So it all depends, man. T-Mobile arena seats close to 20,000. Okay? The T-Mobile arena seats close to 20,000. So let's just say they allocate the capacity. They maximize the allocation for this capacity. Do you truly believe? I mean, I'm not asking you a rhetorical question. I'm just saying, do you think that Spence Crawford could maximize that allocation of close to 20,000? Do you believe they can? I'm just asking the question to anybody in the chat. Do you believe that they can maximize and exhaust 20,000 seat capacity? I just want to know where people are at right. You know what I'm saying? Because, of course, Allegiant Stadium is going to hold much more than that. Do you think this fight, the way they've been talking about it, that this person don't sell and that person does sell and this fight ain't going to do this and the other, do you think he can do 20,000? Honest question. Do you believe these two individuals, these elite fighters, can do 20,000? They can pack out T-Mobile. I'm going to tell you, I think they can. I do. I think they can pack out T-Mobile. For real. It just depends on how many people willing to come spend that money and go over there and check it out and support the fighters. Or they're going to steal the fight. Which one is it? Do you have faith in the ones that's going to go over here and support the fight, whether it's in the comfort of their living room or physically and going to purchase a ticket? Do they have faith they can do that? But man, I got things to take care of. It's 4th of July on Sunday. I got things to take care of. I would definitely touch bases with y'all, man. Y'all hold it down. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Shout out to Retro Boxing Documentaries, man. I tune in to your channel. Y'all definitely go check Blood Boxing over there doing his thing. Shout out to King Mitch, Iron Belt, Pound for Pound that was on deck. Alexander, D-Ray Promotions. You know what I'm saying? J8. Who else was in the building? Mr. Pass was on deck. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Mark Nash dropped through. Deion Washington, salute to you. Man, y'all hold it down, man. Be safe out there on the 4th, man. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. I'm out.